Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Shawn here with Accelerators Organization, ready for another mentor session where I'm going to answer your question and get the process started so we can get your question over to some other mentors and have them answer it and help you make better decisions in your business. Keep asking those questions. We love answering. That's why we as mentors love to do this and give back and help you so you can avoid all the mistakes that we made when we didn't have mentors. All right, here we go. The first question comes from Brad, and Brad says, do you have experience? Let me rephrase that. The next question comes from Brad, and Brad says, do you have an experience sharing to share on crowdfunding to initiate pre-sales of product or an initial product launch? If not, as an entrepreneur, what would you do to learn about it? The background is I have a new apparel brand company called Carbon Thread, and I have some initial inventory, approximately $80,000 worth, that I currently sell at auto expos and meetups. I was thinking to try crowdfunding and wondering if that would be a good option and looking for ideas or experience sharing on it. Thanks. Brad, as you can see, I adjusted your question to make it easier for the other mentors that don't know much about what you're doing and what you're trying to do. And I'll modify questions here as they come in from you as members to make it better for the mentors to answer. So let me answer this the best I can. I don't have any experience with crowdfunding. I've bought and purchased items in crowdfunding. I've seen some amazing ones like the Coolest. If you Google Coolest crowdfunding, it was one of the most successful crowdfunding campaigns in the history of crowdfunding. But I don't have any experience. I do know from the initial research I've done, and I've put some articles and resources in the resource center in the portal. It says crowdfunding. Read those articles, check those out. It can at least get you started going down the rabbit hole to start doing research. What I do know is you need clear, concise, what your product and offering is and why somebody would want to get involved in the pre-sale. And then you want to figure out different levels of what different sponsorships would be. Like if they pay $20 or $100 or $500 or $1,000, what do they get that makes them feel part of the whole thing? And then obviously the number one thing is we have to have, or you would have to have, a very compelling product that people want to be one of the first people to get their hands on. Very important. If it were me as an entrepreneur and I wanted to learn how to crowdfund, I would just get started doing my own self-research. You did good by asking the question here in AO. I don't know if any mentors or members have experience with crowdfunding. I'm going to have a couple people answer this for you. In fact, I'm going to have Jerry Morton, Peter, Joel, Jim, and Mark Kramer answer this. I don't know if they have any experience, but this is a good idea to start asking. You might also want to do a search on Facebook and figure out if there are any crowdfunding Facebook groups where people share experiences about what worked and what didn't. You might also want to try Clubhouse and see if there's any forums on Clubhouse where people talk about crowdfunding. And I would just immerse myself, just like any business and anything in your business. Immerse yourself and go everywhere you can to find information about it and what makes a successful crowdfunding campaign, and start putting together a task list of everything that you will need to successfully run a crowdfunding campaign. And that's where I would start if I was going to do a crowdfunding campaign. All right, keep us posted, brother. Okay, the next question comes from Ricardo, and Ricardo says, where are the best places to look for new hires these days, specifically barbers? The background is I'm currently looking for more barbers to join my barbershop, but it seems like I haven't reached anyone yet. How do I start my strategy and stick to it? Things like applying, interviewing, negotiate, salary, the benefits of working there, etc. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. If I was a barber owner and I wanted to find more barbers, one of my strategies is I would look on Instagram for barbers in my local area, and I would start seeing if they were interested in making a transition from where they currently work to coming to work with me. I would make sure I have a strong brand. I have a strong compensation schedule. I'll do my research of all the different compensation plans and schedules out there in my local area of what barbers make and what type of commission split or what kind of rent they pay, what the attire is. I would have a killer brand that people would want to belong to. When people walk in my shop, they're like, whoa, like Sarah at Pinky's Chop Shop here, one of the members I've put you in touch with. When people walk into Sarah's shop, they are blown away at how amazing it is. That's what I would create as a barber. If I own my own shop, I would make sure that there was massive wow factor when someone walked in my shop. It would not look like a Supercuts. It would look like a cool place to work. And remember, in that environment, barbers, they want to like the place that they work and the people that they work with. And it's my responsibility as a barber owner to create the vibe, to create the atmosphere and make it an amazing place to work, and make sure that I do a good job of creating a synonymous atmosphere where people feed off of each other in a positive way and get along. That's my job as a barbershop owner, not just cutting and fading hair and shaves. I have to create the vibe. That's where I would start, and then I would constantly be reaching out to current barbers and trying to get them to come work for me in my shop or with me in my shop, and that would be one of my recruiting strategies. I also would look to all of the barber schools that are around the area or in my community to figure out if I can get involved in the barber shop academies and those types of things, or where people are going. I would constantly be putting out the word on Facebook and Instagram that I'm always looking for a barber. If you're interested in getting into the barber industry and you want to intern and go study for your license, etc., I would always have an ongoing strategy. So those are kind of some of the things that I would do if it were me. But I'm telling you, I would have a place that people want to work, and I would work on myself to make sure that I'm the type of leader and barbershop owner that people want to associate with. What are they looking for? Someone cool, fun, innovative, pays a great thing, creates a great atmosphere, has maybe some perks in the business. That's what I would be creating as a barbershop owner. Okay? All right. Hope that helps. The next question comes from Jessica, and Jessica says, should I keep my business partner or work independently? The background is, as a nutrition coach, I originally opened an LLC. I had someone approach me wanting to invest in my company and in return own half of it. She was going to pay for marketing, web design, online ads, etc. After opening, signing a shareholders agreement, getting a bank account, she became unresponsive. I couldn't get time with her. The website was mediocre. She didn't commit any time to me or invest her finances any further. She said she was too busy with her other business. I offered to dissolve the corporation and I want to just move forward on my own with my own LLC. She was very successful. Her other business is a multi-million-dollar company, so I thought it would really benefit me to have that resource. Her response to my suggestion to dissolve is she asked to be a silent partner, adjust percentage of shares, and she could still fund certain aspects until she has time to focus on the rest of it. I don't know what to do. Whew. I'm going to get some other mentors to answer this for you. Partnerships can be very tough, and I think one of the things that it sounds like you guys did wrong, Jessica, is you didn't put out specifically how much money she would invest, when she would invest, the process to submit for funding and get that initial commitment, and then if she did not invest, what the consequences were. Everything seems like it was done kind of on a handshake trust deal. Whoo, baby. That is where we run into the most trouble. Partnerships are legal contracts that need to have legal, spelled out situations that people stick to. So I think that at this point, my recommendation is, if it were me, I would sit down and have a good heart-to-heart conversation and see if you guys can start really putting down some pen to paper of exactly what you expect from her, how you have to present it to her, what her financial commitment is on an ongoing or an annual or a long-term basis, how you're going to get money back to her as an investor. Like, she's not just putting in money because she just wants to be nice. I am sure she'd like to get some sort of return on her investment. So what are her expectations? At what time increment? So those are things that I would really sit down and spell out. And if you guys can't come to a good conclusion that makes both of you feel comfortable, the bottom line is you can leave the current LLC and resign and give back your shares to the LLC. The situation would be is, do you have a non-compete? Could she sue you for going off and shutting this down and starting your own? So those are all legal questions that you're going to have to work through. It just depends on how good of a relationship you guys have and if she'll just let you get out. If she put any money in, do you owe her that money? If she just walks away? So these are all questions for you to have good dialogue around. All right, keep us posted. That's a very complex and emotional type of situation, okay? But it just should come down to having good, open dialogue on what you expect, what she expects, how you both can be happy, and how the future is going to work, and spell it out, okay? Keep us posted. I'm going to get 7, 8 other mentors to answer this question for you, so hopefully they can give you some good ideas as well. The next question comes from AJ, and AJ says, how do you wake up earlier consistently? The background is I struggle immensely with consistently waking up early consistently. I'll do great at it for 30 to 60 days, then absolutely fail for the next 30 to 60. I've read lots of books on it and implemented many different systems, but none of them have helped me truly be successful at this long term. All right, I'm going to get 6 other mentors to answer this for you. Jerry, who's a peak performance coach, Greg, Tom, Joel, Brad, Jennifer. You know, the only experience sharing that I can give to you is when I have a lot of stuff that has to get done, I go to sleep ready to wake up the next day to get started on it. And I'm excited and I know it's got to get done. So the busier I get, the more productive I get and the more I stick to time management and productivity things. Over the years, I also learned to love going to bed early, waking up early, and everybody does this differently. So I wouldn't worry so much if it were me. I wouldn't worry so much about waking up earlier, because if you stay up until midnight, then maybe it's okay for you to sleep until 6 or 7. If you stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning, it's okay to sleep till 7 or 8. But if you go to bed at 9 o'clock, then your ass should be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's more about not necessarily when I wake up. You've heard the saying, it's more about what do you do when you wake up? And that's what I would look to. How do I measure my time management and how much and how productive I am at the work I'm doing? So if I set out and I use task lists and I write down tasks that need to get done and I'm getting everything done, I don't care if I work 3 hours or 10 hours. As long as everything that needs to get done gets done, I'm cool. I don't care what time I wake up or what time I go to sleep. I want to be a focused and results-oriented person more than I got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I got to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I got to go to bed by 9 o'clock. I got to go to bed by 10 o'clock. I didn't want to live my life that way. I wanted to live my life based on results that I was getting when I was awake. And if I'm tired, I want to have the type of financial or type of freedom in my life that if I'm tired, like if I'm tired right now and it's 2:30 in the afternoon, I want to have the life that I can take a 20-minute, 30-minute nap. Cool. When I used to have my company, I used to shut my door, pull down the blinds in my office, and I would sit down on the couch in my office because I had a nice office. I worked hard for it. And I would take a 30-minute nap and I would tell my assistant, no interruptions. I'm going to take a 30-minute nap. I'll let you know when I'm awake. And I would just go to sleep at the office because I didn't want to drive all the way home, take a nap, and come back. It's one of the things we can do as entrepreneurs. So as an entrepreneur, we can do whatever it is we want to do because we own the company. That's why we start our own businesses. So that's the way I look at it. I want to be results-oriented. Am I getting everything that needs to get done? And that's what it's about. And what's really cool is when you build a company and you've got 3, 5, 10, 20 people working for you, shit's going to get done even when you're asleep. And that's great. So while you're napping and taking an hour nap or laying at the pool for 2 hours during the day on a Monday, you got 15, 20 people working their butts off from 8 to 5 for you and with you. and getting shit done and you're not even having to work. That's when things get really cool. So results is what I want to focus on. Now, I know there's some other mentors that could talk to you about what they do to wake up early, but I'm giving you a contrarian thought, my thought, which is I don't care when I wake up. I want to figure out what I want to do to maximize the results of when I am awake. All right? Hope that helps. Okay, next question comes from AJ, and AJ says, what's your advice for maximizing results of a new fitness challenge? The background is I'll be starting a 75-day program shortly, and I want to get the maximum benefit from it for my personal development. What is your advice? P.S. I failed it once before. What are things you do to stick with it? Now, I modified this a little bit for you, AJ, because I know that you're starting the 75 Hard program, but a lot of the mentors don't know what that is, and so they wouldn't have understood your question. This is really about just sticking to things. This is really about being disciplined, and those are the things that I would look at. So I would go into the resource center. In the resource center, in the portal, I actually have a bunch of articles around personal development. And I also did a live stream yesterday. You know, people might be watching this on a replay, but today is January 4th, and I did a live stream on my Instagram account with a Hindu priest by the name of Don Dapani, and he's all about unlocking things in our brain of why we don't do the things that we know we should do. And there's going to be some information in the portal about this soon because I'm going to do a Zoom with him. But I would start exploring why you don't do the things that you know you should do when you should be doing them. Why? Why do you self-sabotage? Why do you get lazy? Why do you procrastinate? Why do you get shiny object syndrome? Why do you want to multitask instead of focus? Why do you have a problem with focus and concentration? Those are the things that I want to solve in this situation so that if I say, I'm going to stick to a 75-day program and I know the parameters inside and out, I can do it with ease because I know how to stay focused. I know how to concentrate. I know how to have willpower. Those are all skills to develop, and Don Dapani has a mobile application of which I would highly recommend that you get. Reach out to me by email, and I can get you a link to it. We get a 25% discount on his stuff just because he's a great guy. Let me know, but that's what I would try to find out is why do you have a problem with focus, discipline, willpower? Figure that out, and anything you ever set your mind to, you will achieve, all right? Got some other mentors answering that one for you, especially Tom Black, Jerry Morton, Joel, Jennifer Crasco, high-level achievers. And I'm sure they have all their ideas of how they do it as well. Okay, next question comes from Robin, and Robin says, what strategy would you use to speak with a gallery or company to help sell your art if you were an artist? The background is I'm an independent artist, and it's called Art for Calm. I ask this to know how to approach possible galleries or sales agents to help increase revenues. Thank you so much. I reworded your question, Robin, because I wanted to make sure that the other mentors understood how to answer it. And I also take a look at the background that I put of this question. I changed it for you. You can't just put Art for Calm. The mentors aren't going to know what that means. So for your background, put I'm an independent artist and it's called Art for Calm. So that gives people an understanding of what you do. Now, if it were me, I would know exactly what I have to offer. What are my price ranges? Or maybe I might look to them as a gallery to put a price on what I'm doing. I would want to let them know what kind of inventory I have. Do I have prints? Do I have duplicates? Do I have reproduction? How many pieces do I have? What have they been sold for in the past? I would want to understand my financials to know how much I could offer as far as commission. If you're just starting out, you probably can pay a nice, handsome commission. You want to get their opinion of whether or not they think they could sell it. What kind of availability do you have as an artist? I'd want to know all these types of things. And sometimes I just might want to treat the initial galleries as some market research. Maybe I just want to go talk to some initial galleries and have them tell me what they would need to have in order to sell my art as a gallery or as an independent sales agent or something. So that's where I would start off. I would just go have a straightforward conversation about my art, how I can package it up, sell it, and get some feedback, and then start putting together the process. That's what I would do. I'd also talk to some other artists and figure out how they got galleries or agents to sell for them, and I would immerse myself in that world and that industry to figure out how it all works and how I can fit it in for my business. That's what I would do. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Samuel, and Samuel says, where is the best place to find a competent sales professional that will work on a commission basis? The background is, I'm running a business selling photography artworks and digital NFTs, but find myself spending more time in sales and business development than content creation or audience engagement as a creator. I'd love to find someone who is great at selling art to companies and individuals while I focus on engaging and building an audience and work on further content. I don't have enough business income to pay a salary for a new employee, but would love to find an individual who is willing to work on a commission basis. You know, Samuel, I think we would all love to find somebody who would be willing to work for free for us and get paid a commission off the sales. I think everybody would love that. Wouldn't we all love that? So we would love to just go, hey, John, can you come and work your butt off for me? And when you make a sale, I'll give you a commission. And I have not lots of experience and not a lot of people know about my stuff, but I want you to go build that for me. Would you do that for me? I'd appreciate that. I think a lot of people would love that. And you know, the funny thing is my last company, Samuel, I actually got started that way. So let me tell you how I did it, okay? I built out my business model first. So as a salesperson myself and as an owner of the company, I went out there and I figured out what my sales cycle was and what the presentation and objection handling answers needed to be in order to close deals. So I became my first commissioned sales rep because I couldn't pay myself a salary. So I needed to go make money. So I went out there and did it myself. Now, after I did it for a certain amount of time, I knew how much money I could make on a monthly basis if I devoted all the time and attention that was needed to the sales and marketing process. So I was calling on hotels and getting them to buy computers from me. And so I knew how many hotels I needed to call on and make presentations to on a daily and weekly and monthly basis, how many sales could be made, how much revenue was created, and how much profit there was to the company. And once I knew all of that data, I then said, okay, if I create a spreadsheet, let me see how much I could plug in if I had a sales rep that was doing exactly what I'm doing, and I teach it to them based on those sales numbers, how much, when I run the data, how much could I afford out of the profit margins to pay that person as commission? And so I needed to create that information to know so that when I spoke with a salesperson, I could then say to them, hey, I'm looking for an independent contractor salesperson based on my own experiences working full time. On commission, you should be able to make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 per month. And let me show you the data. Let me show you. I made this many phone calls. I did this many presentations. And this is how long it took for me to make sales. And that's how you're going to make your sales. And I will train you for the first 2 weeks. I will actually go on sales presentations with you and show you how it's done. And then once you're trained, you can then go out there and make the sales yourself. That's how you get an independent contractor salesperson to go out there and make sales for you. All right. Let me know if you have questions around that, but that's how I would hire an independent contractor salesperson. And that's exactly what I did to hire an independent contractor salesperson. All right. Hope that helps. Okay. Oh, and then the platforms I would use is you could use Sales Gravy. Tom Black has answered this question about platforms. Sales Gravy, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. I would try all the different platforms out there that people go to look for sales jobs. That's where I would go. I would use all the different platforms, okay? And I'm going to have Paul David, who's a recruiter, answer this for you. Peter Cozadoy, Tom Black, Jim Mitty. These are people that do this type of stuff, so they might have some experience of different platforms that are working these days, okay? All right, last question comes from from Ips. Quipo, I think. Quipo is the way, but nickname is Ips. Okay, Ips says, as a new apparel and accessory company, do I need inventory before beginning to sell wholesale to retailers who I want to carry my product? The background is I started selling surf shorts and bikinis and wanted to know if I should have product on hand before I ask retailers to sell my items in their store, or should I get their commitment first for orders and then place a big bulk order with the manufacturer? Okay, so this is chicken and the egg. To be completely frank, I have no idea. And if it were me as an entrepreneur and I was coming up with board shorts and accessories that I wanted independent retailers, shops to carry my stuff, I would pick up the phone and go talk to a minimum of 20 store owners and ask them, what is your buying process? So because all of those stores are buying from different suppliers. And so what is the process for these retailers to put items in their store? Do they place an order ahead of time for 30, 60, 90 days for it to come in? Or what is the process? I always find in business, if I have a question, I want to go right to the source for the answers. I don't want to guess what my customer wants as doing business with me. I want them to tell me. I know this might seem like, well, I don't want to be unprepared. Well, the only way to prepare is to get knowledge, to get real data. It is never going to hurt you as long as you are respectful of the shop owners or the general managers that work at the stores, to walk into a potential retailer boutique and dressed appropriately, maybe a couple samples of the things you have, and walk in professionally with a professional sales presentation and say, my name is Shawn Thomas. I run XYZ company. I was wondering if I could talk to the general manager. Oh, you're the general manager? Hi, Jim. Good to meet you. I was wondering if I could set up an appointment if now is not the right time because I'm just walking in. I was wondering if I could set up an appointment to come by and give you a presentation of a new line of products and accessories that I have that I would like to see if you could carry in your store and what your process is. What would be the process that we could do that? And I want to be prepared right then and there to make the presentation, or I want to carry my day planner with me and have them give me a time. And that's part of the sales process. That's part of being a professional salesperson. No general manager or boutique owner or anything like that is going to have a problem with you walking in professionally and respectful of their time and saying, how can I work with you? Now, I would want to make sure that I don't walk in at the busiest times. I want to know when the stores are busy, like especially lunch and on the weekends or after work hours when they might have the biggest foot traffic. I don't want to come in during those times. I want to know my customer extremely well. When are they slow? When do they do their administrative work? I want to approach them at the best times of the day and on the right days so that I can increase my chances of success of communication with them. You have got to, we as business owners and as sales people, we have to know our customer inside and out. So you should know the exact way that your retailers buy, what their budgets are, what their lead times are, everything that it takes to do business with your customer. I want to know. And the only way to know that is to get out there and start working with them. Just do it. But be prepared with your pitch, your brand, samples, all that type of stuff, and always be respectful. Okay? And I'm going to get some other mentors to answer that for you too. 4 other mentors to be exact. All right, that was the last question. I hope you guys got something of value with this. Keep asking questions in the portal. And I hope you guys have a great day, morning or night, wherever you are in the world. And Happy New Year. Peace out.